Welcome, Cowboy fans and Cowboy haters alike. I'm the G, and I'm the host of Let's Talk Cowboys, where we talk facts. Got a lot to talk about. Let's talk facts. So tomorrow we are definitely going to get into a full breakdown of what do the Dallas Cowboys need to do to beat the San Francisco 49ers. But I want to focus on today. I want to focus in on what I think that at this point, if this team doesn't fix this one issue that is broken on this team, nothing else is going to matter. Nothing else is going to matter. If this team does not fix its mental makeup, it doesn't matter what this team does. It does not matter what this team does, they're not going to be able to win. We can talk X's and O's all we want to. But if the team's mental makeup is not right, it doesn't matter. And I think we're looking at something larger here. I think, it's kind of funny to me that people keep talking about the distractions of the Dallas Cowboys. And they've only won, 36 games in 3 years? They've only won 12 games a season the last 3 years. And all of a sudden, we haven't even gotten to the end of the season. The Cowboys are 3-3, not 2 and 4, not 1-5, not 0-6. This isn't the end of the season where the Cowboys are 3-14. We're talking 3-3. And it's not the team. It's not the team as much, but it's like everyone around, they continue to just find things to talk about the Dallas Cowboys. And it's strange to me. We're going to look here in a moment at an article that was written at ESPN about the distractions of the Dallas Cowboys and why people say it's a distraction. What's going on, Angie? They talk about all of these distractions, and I find it to be strange. You want to be honest? I think the real distraction for some of the Dallas Cowboys is the very people who are complaining about the distractions of the Dallas Cowboys. It's the media. I talked about this a couple of shows ago, and I thought it was strange that Dak Prescott was asking the media to write nice things about the team. So when the young guys read things, they would be encouraged. And I said it then, and I'm saying it now. Dak was saying something. This team gets distracted by the media. That's who this team gets distracted by. They're distracted by the media. The media is saying that it's the things that Jerry is doing that distracts the team. And I'm not saying that some of the things that Jerry may do don't distract the team. But watch this part. Jerry's always been doing those things. Why are we saying now these things that Jerry Jones? Why are we saying now these things that Jerry Jones is doing is a problem? Why are we saying it now? The team, 3-3. I repeat, 3-3. This team has not totally collapsed. And I'm laughing at people who at the beginning of the season said this was going to be the worst season of the Dallas Cowboys. Well, it actually isn't the worst season. It's actually not even shaping up to be the worst season. You're 3-3. The Cowboys are 1 game behind where they were last year. So at this point, how is this team falling apart, when the same people who are saying that this team is falling apart was actually saying before any of this stuff came up, the Cowboys were going to do absolutely nothing. And I get it. It's the Dallas Cowboys. And these people can say anything they want to say, but they always have the Dallas Cowboys coming out of their mouth. And it's like they can't get anyone to watch. Why won't you talk about these other teams out there? Hold on a second. Let's go off script for a second. Let's go off script. Let's look at the NFL standings. Now, I'll get to my agenda, because really my agenda today is going to be talking about the distractions of the Dallas Cowboys. Are these really distractions that everyone is talking about? Okay, so let's look at this for a moment. So let's look at the NFL standings. The Miami Dolphins. Wait, let me see if I can pull this up so we can look at it together. Let's look at this real fast. Let's just look at the standings, nothing else. The Miami Dolphins are 2-4. Why are they not talking about the Miami Dolphins and Tua Tagovailoa after another concussion, putting his life at risk, has refused to wear the thing that they put over the helmets now to protect their head even more? Why are they not talking about the Miami Dolphins? They're 2-4. So they're just sorry, huh? There's those distractions for them. They're just sorry, right? The New York Jets. They have Aaron bleeping Rodgers, as he's called. We know he's going to the Hall of Fame. Just got Devontae Adams. But why are they not spending all of their time talking about this story with the New York Jets? Do they have distractions? Oh, we better not dare talk about the New England Patriots, right? They have the most recent dynasty that we know of in football. 7-10 in Super Bowls. Tom Brady no longer the quarterback. Fired Bill Belichick. Oh, but they can say they let him go all they want to. They fired Bill Belichick. No success. And we don't even have to say since Bill Belichick. Bill Belichick wasn't having any success after Tom Brady. Why are the New England Patriots not a story? Cincinnati Bengals, Joe Burrow. He was the $50 million man before Dak Prescott. He was supposed to be the next best thing since sliced bread. Everybody was talking about how good Joe Burrow is. Joe Burrow is 1-4. Why are we not talking about Joe Burrow? Deshaun Watson snapped his Achilles. They gave him a guaranteed, $250 million deal. I mean, they got all kinds of problems with the Cleveland Browns. Why are they not covering the Cleveland Browns? We're talking about teams that's worse than 3-3. Why are we not talking about Trevor Lawrence? Me and my sons, we still have arguments because I said that Trevor Lawrence, when I saw him at Clemson, he was going to be a generational talent. And when he hit the NFL, he was going to totally dominate this thing. And he's been totally dominated. He got the bag before Dak Prescott. He's 2-5. Where's his distractions? Are they losing because of distractions? Tennessee Titans 1-5. Are they losing because of distractions? The Los Angeles Chargers, well, they're 3-3. They have Justin Herbert, the golden boy, who everybody is saying that he's going to be this, that, and the other, and we're still waiting on him to become this, that, and the other. Why are they not talking about the Los Angeles Chargers? Why are they not talking about the Las Vegas Raiders? Why are they not talking about them? They're in a rebuild. They're having all kinds of trouble. Can't find a quarterback. Devontae Adams left. Oh, why are we not talking about the New York Football freaking Giants? Why not? Why are we not talking about them? Why are we not talking about the New Orleans Saints? Why not the Carolina Panthers, who went away from Bryce Young, went to Andy Dalton, thinking that because Andy Dalton has one good game and now they're gonna be world beaters, and now he's looking like the Andy Dalton that we knew he was, and that's the very reason why he is a 35, 36-year-old backup. Oh, nothing to see here, right? Nothing to see here. Yeah. We're not talking about the Arizona Cardinals 3-4. You know why we're talking about the San Francisco 49ers? Because they're getting ready to play the Dallas Cowboys. And we're not even talking about the San Francisco 49ers as much as we're talking about the Dallas Cowboys. We're not talking about the Los Angeles Rams, who they said were actually going to be pretty good. But we're the team who everyone said was not going to be good. And they're talking about the Dallas Cowboys. Strange, isn't it? How do you keep building all these expectations on a team that you expected to do absolutely nothing? Can we talk about that? Why do you keep talking about the Dallas Cowboys, who are 3-3? You said they're not making the playoffs. You said they're not making the Super Bowl. So why are they so significant to everyone? I don't know about y'all, but if I thought a team wasn't about nothing, if I thought they were not doing nothing, if I thought that the owner is terrible, he's the GM, he needs to be fired, they're worth nothing. I mean, why do I have to keep talking about the Dallas Cowboys? Because nobody's going to watch otherwise. That's why they keep talking about Jerry Jones is a distraction. But do y'all know Jerry Jones wouldn't be a distraction if they didn't keep the microphone in his face? What if they were not waiting on him after every game? What if they were not always trying to get a quote from Jerry Jones? What if they were not always trying to talk about Jerry Jones? What if they would just say that owner is crazy? He's the GM. He's running his team in the ground. Let's focus on the rest of the NFL. Hey, how about this? Let's go back down our list again, but this time let's do it a little bit different. How about we talk about the Buffalo Bills, who picked up Amari Cooper, 5-2? How about we not talk about how the Baltimore Ravens may be the only team that can stop the Kansas City Chiefs in the AFC? They're 5-2, and Derrick Henry is having an astronomical season. How about we talk about the Pittsburgh Steelers, who just put back Russell Wilson at quarterback, and everybody said they shouldn't, but they did. Now they're 5-2. They wanted Russell Wilson. Didn't really look too much better than Justin Fields, but at least he was going down the field, and they're 5-2. Why are we not talking about the Houston Texans? They're 5-2. Why not be talking about the Kansas City Chiefs? They're 6-0. Wow. Patrick Mahomes is having a very stinky year. I mean, he's not even average right now. He's stinking up the place, and they're 6-0. Why are we not talking about that? How about the Washington Commanders? How about them? The defensive coordinator of the Dallas Cowboys, he leaves the Dallas Cowboys, goes to the Washington Commanders, changes the culture. He's 5-2. Why are we not talking about them? The 4-2 Philadelphia Eagles, they're struggling, still 4-2. Detroit Lions beat the Cowboys into the ground. Hutchinson breaks his leg. We're not even talking about that beyond the game. They're 5-1. Minnesota, 5-0 start. Why are we not talking about them? 5-0. How are they going to look the rest of the season? Why are we not talking about the Green Bay Packers? Business as usual. Jordan Love comes back, sprained MCL. They're back on track, 5-2. Why are we not talking about Caleb Williams, rookie, 4-2, Chicago Bears? Why are we not talking about them? 4-3 Atlanta Falcons. Why are we not talking about the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, 4-3? Why are we not talking about the Seattle Seahawks? Why are we not talking about teams that are winning? Why? Why are we not talking about teams that are winning? Why are we not talking about teams that are even losing? We're talking about the team who we expected to do nothing. We saw that the owner did nothing in free agency, and that's why people keep talking about him. We saw that he's doing nothing as it pertains to trading. We know he's scraping the bottom of the barrel every time there's an injury. He has a running back on his practice squad. No one even knows what he's going to do. He refuses to do anything to improve the team. He hasn't signed his coach to a contract. I mean, really? We're saying they want to do nothing, but they're 3-3 with all these problems. Why are we talking about this team if we say this team is such a problem? I'll say it again. Because nobody's going to watch anything else. And I go to my original premise, Spider-Man. You know what the problem of the Dallas Cowboys is? It's not Jerry Jones. Y'all help me out. How long has Jerry Jones been Jerry Jones since we known him? Has he never been Jerry Jones? When has he never been Jerry Jones? When has he never been about making money? When has he never been about advertising the Dallas Cowboys? When has he never been about drawing attention to the Dallas Cowboys? When has he never been about player issues? Do we not know that Emmitt Smith, that the Dallas Cowboys actually tried to hold out on signing Emmitt Smith's contract? When has Jerry Jones not been doing Jerry Jones things? We acting like all this stuff is brand new. We're acting like all of this stuff that's going on with Jerry Jones is the reason why this team is 3-3. They were only one game better than this last year, and Jerry Jones was doing the same stuff. They're going to have to miss me. The biggest distraction for the Dallas Cowboys is the media. They went to a bunch of folk. Now, if they would have went to a bunch of Super Bowl winners, and they would have been talking about this team as a distraction and Jerry Jones is a distraction and what they're doing at the Stars is a distraction. If it's these people, I could maybe lend it a lot more validity. And if this was brand new, and this is just coming to the forefront, that we're just now finding out about these tours that go on at the Star and all of these things that these people are doing. I mean, if this was brand new, maybe I could give it some kind of validity. Because I'm not saying that none of the stuff they're saying is not happening, that people are not walking through the Star because we know. I argue with, based on what Mike Fisher said, who's there every single day. I will argue against that what these people are complaining about is something that's happening every single day. I push back on that. But we're actually saying that this thing that Jerry Jones is doing is a distraction, and this team is 3-3 with the team that they have. And we're saying that what Jerry Jones is doing is the reason why they're 3-3. This is stupid. This is absolutely stupidity. The Cowboys fans have a culture issue, not the team. We let the media dictate our culture. Spider-Man, help me out. When has it not been about flamboyancy with the Dallas Cowboys? Do we not know that the Dallas Cowboys have always been flamboyant, that they've always had flamboyant players? Folks don't even know about a man by the name of Hollywood Henderson who was taking cocaine during the game. And if you go back and watch the actual footage of him playing on the game, you can see where he's got the cocaine vial in his actual pants. The Cowboys, this has always been what the Dallas Cowboys have been. I'm not making excuses. I'm just telling you the facts. The Cowboys have always been flamboyant. They've always had flamboyant players. Always. Even before Jerry Jones, flamboyant. Tell me anything you want to. We know Tom Landry was buttoned up, but the players were still flamboyant. They've always had players who were big names. Ed, Too Tall Jones. I mean, you could just go down the line with some of these players, how they were bigger than life. Always. People need to understand. They don't know the Dallas Cowboys history. And I'm telling you, y'all know the only thing that has changed about the Dallas Cowboys today, the Dallas Cowboys of the 90s, and we're taking just the winning part out of it just for a second because we're talking about the distractions. You know the difference? Social media. Social media is the difference. The Cowboys were America's team before Jerry Jones took over. They were already America's team. But y'all can tell me anything you want to, but the NFL was not the NFL until Jerry Jones came into it. And I'm sorry, Jerry Jones is one of these people. You're just going to have to take it for what it is. You got to take him. He is what he is. You got to take the bad with the good with the bad, and whatever it is what it is. It is. Spider-Man says if the team is going to get flustered by tourists, we don't stand a chance against other NFL teams. That's why I'm talking, Spider-Man. before we start talking about what this team needs to do, X's and O's, they got a problem between the ears. They got a mentality problem. This is deep. See, when people start talking about that players are soft, I don't believe in that, because it depends on what we're talking about, for example. So if we're talking about soft, what are we talking about? Size? Lack of toughness? What are we talking about? Getting punched in the face and not hitting back? Can't stop the run? I mean, what are we talking about? But if you're talking about the mentality, I'm going to 100% agree with you. This team has a mentality problem. And Jerry is saying something, and I don't think people understand what Jerry is saying. And this is why I'm not as critical as some folks are about Jerry Jones. Jerry Jones is saying that the ability, as far as his players go, they have the ability. Keep saying it. You know why I keep saying he likes his players? People think that Jerry is trying to convince himself. Jerry isn't trying to convince himself. Jerry is convinced. Jerry's saying something. Nobody in the NFL drafts better than us. I would agree. There's nobody that drafts as good as the Dallas Cowboys. Because even players, they let go. They go on with other teams. Some of them win Super Bowls. Do we not realize we drafted DeMarcus Lawrence? I mean, I'm sorry, not DeMarcus Lawrence. What's it? If I hadn't said it, but I'm telling us, you don't have to. We don't have to look at all of the players that the Cowboys have drafted and how good they've been. Most people in the NFL, DeMarcus Ware, most people in the NFL will agree the Dallas Cowboys draft extremely well, because when they hit, they hit. And some of the players, they don't even resign, not because they're no good, but because they've drafted so well, they can't sign all of them. I mean, they can't sign all of them. So they have to pick and choose. And those players go on to other teams at times, and they do extremely well. But the problem with the Dallas Cowboys is a mentality problem. And people have to understand, some of these people, they're just not ready. They're just not ready to play with the Dallas Cowboys. They're not. And I think that's something that Jerry Jones is going to have to look at going forward. I mean, keeping it 100. I think there's something to be said here. I say from time to time, I'm built different. And I don't like to say that a lot, because I don't want people to feel some type of way. You know, I don't want people to feel like I think I'm superior. But I'm not trying to say I'm superior. But I'm built different. I just come from a whole different era. I come from a different era of discipline. I come from a different era as a Christian. I come from a different era as it applies to facts and truth. I just come from a different era. I mean, my mom was different. My mom didn't play around with you. She didn't do all that like you know, some of these moms, they're nurturers, and they always try to, you know, make their children, especially their sons, feel good. Not my mom. She didn't care nothing about your feelings. She hitting you with the cold hard facts and cussing you out at the same time. My mom began all of her statements every time you did something dumb, at least to me. If I did something dumb and I start talking to my mom about it, her opening statement was, "Fool." Because she was telling me, "You're acting very foolish." See, I knew what she meant. I knew she loved me, but I also knew she wasn't putting up with foolishness. I'm just built different. And I think we're looking at an era of people, young men, to where they're not built mentally to take constructive criticism. They're not built in a manner to where they like to be coached hard. They don't want to be told what to do. Spider-Man, I think you put it up earlier. Let me put it back up. Entitlement. We have a group of young folk today who think they're owed things that other folk in the past worked hard for and some never received. This is what's wrong with the Dallas Cowboys. And I could only imagine if Tom Landry was still coaching this team. And I still say, I think Tom Landry could coach this team even with Jerry Jones. Tom Landry would be telling this team, stop reading your own press clippings. Stop being so worried about how people see you, talk about you. And hey, we're the Dallas Cowboys. People are going to talk about us all the time. So let's just stay buttoned up, be men, be professional, go out here and do our job. And some may say maybe Tom Landry couldn't work under Jerry Jones because of how Jerry Jones has because I think this era, if we're going to call it softness, I'll use something a little bit more politically correct, but might not even be politically correct. But this terrible mentality that the Cowboys have, it began with the firing of Jerry Jones and the bringing on of Barry Switzer. Barry Switzer was the pat you on the butt type of coach. And then we had coaches in between there. And then the other coach that comes to mind, Jason Garrett. Angie called him yesterday the clapper. That's what he did. Did a lot of hand clapping, good or bad, hand clapping. And he was always saying, trust the process. His process wasn't working. I give Mike McCarthy credit, though. In spite of his own shortcomings, in spite of what Jerry Jones does, he's amassed 36 wins in 3 seasons. There's been nobody better, I think, with the exception of the Chiefs. There's been no one better. Only problem is it hasn't translated into playoff wins, hasn't translated into a Super Bowl. And I'm telling y'all, I'm preparing myself with everything that Jerry Jones is saying. Everyone is saying stuff like Mike McCarthy is not going to be the coach of this team next year. I'm not going to say that yet. I'm not going to say that yet. Because people who say that, including quote unquote Dallas Cowboy YouTubers, how do you say that and he's 3-3 and you've been arguing on both sides of the fence? You say he's not returning. He's not a good coach. And we've talked about it on here. He can't motivate men. I think that's one of his biggest issues. And I don't think it's he can't motivate men. He cannot motivate them consistently. He can't burn the fire consistently. He can light the fire. He can get it going. But then when they win, it's like the fire dies again. He can't keep them consistent. He can't find a way to, and he can't find them a way to say consistently, we got to beat everybody that gets in front of us. He can't get consistently. He can't say, hey, you know what? It's us against the world. And some of it is because he can't go to his team and say, you know what? Troy Aikman is right. Troy Aikman is right. I haven't been calling good plays. I have been calling crappy routes. My playbook is no good. CeeDee Lamb, Jalen Tolbert, Jalen Brooks, the whole wide receiver room. I'm going to blame you somewhat for the effort, but I'm going to put the blame on me because my play calling has been trash. Troy Aikman right. It's time for us to step up. He can't do stuff like that. He can't tell his team we're better than this. I don't care what the media says. I don't care what Jerry Jones says. We're the ones on this field. Publicity comes with being with the Dallas Cowboys. He said it. He said it. I heard him say it. He said that's the nature of this franchise. But he also needs to say something else. And I'm going to show y'all what I'm talking about. There have always been distractions for the Dallas Cowboys in those Super Bowl eras. And they still won. And I'm with you, Spider-Man. If people walking through the practice facility, if that breaks your concentration, I'm worried. That's where I'm worried. Because if that's breaking your concentration, you're not the right players. Spider-Man says, I heard a player say that most teams in the NFL have one brand. In Dallas, there are 52 brands. The success in Dallas could be the failure of Dallas. Let me tell you something. And I'm going to give Mike Fisher credit for that. Because Mike Fisher was the first one to start saying 52 brands. But let me hone this in for us for a moment. Because I want us to be in reality. I want us to think in reality and not think like the world thinks. Put yourself in that position. You're on the most valuable franchise, the most valuable, not football team, not basketball team, not hockey team. And we know how popular soccer is worldwide. Not baseball team, not lacrosse team, not cricket team, not track team. You are the most valuable sports franchise in the world. And you think someone's going to play on the most valuable franchise in the world, and they're not going to try to capitalize on it. I just heard somebody today saying something about Ben DiNucci that blew my mind. Ben DiNucci, he didn't even barely play on the Dallas Cowboys, has built upon playing for the Dallas Cowboys. Just a pre-season, I don't know. It wasn't long, and it's not even memorable. He's built a successful suit line. I'm sorry. You're playing on the most valuable franchise in the world. And if you have just a little bit of success, you can have success off the field. Now, where some of these guys falter, because my mentality would be, I'm on the most valuable franchise in the world. And if I go out on this field and I show out, I can build generational wealth. I can build generational wealth. If I go out here on this field, man, I'm going to make a name for myself. That's the cold hard facts. I don't care how you slice it. That's the cold hard facts. I have to realize that this is the most valuable sports franchise in the world. And if I step on that field and I do bad, the whole world sees it. The whole world's going to be talking about it. The whole world's going to criticize me. So it behooves me that if I'm not built for this, maybe I ought to just go to someone and say, man, I'm not built for this. I don't know, man. I can't play for the Dallas Cowboys. Hey, you know what, Jerry? I know. I'm sorry. This is my interview, but I know people are afraid to do this. But I just got to be real if it's me. Hey, you know what, Jerry? Man, I know you want to draft me. I just don't know if I can play in that market to where the spotlight is always on us and people are always talking about us and there's always people coming through on these tours, because the Dallas Cowboys are not the only team doing these tours. All these teams are doing them. But you know why they're not doing them like the Dallas Cowboys? Because they're not the Dallas Cowboys. They would be doing tours too like the Dallas Cowboys if people were talking about them on every radio station, on every media outlet, on social media. If people were talking about them like the Dallas Cowboys, you don't think they'd be saying something like, we need to capitalize on how popular our team is? Oh, boy, let me hit y'all with something hard. Could y'all imagine if Patrick Mahomes was on the Dallas Cowboys and the Dallas Cowboys were winning like the Kansas City Chiefs and Patrick Mahomes is on the Dallas Cowboys? Boy, y'all better miss me. Y'all think Patrick Mahomes is popular now? You wouldn't be able to open your eyes without seeing Patrick Mahomes. Patrick Mahomes would be on your cereal. He would be on your milk cartons. He would be on your soda bottles. He would have every advertisement at every food company, Pizza Hut, Taco Bell. Man, you name it. Patrick Mahomes' face would be everywhere. How do you be as successful as Patrick Mahomes and Dak Prescott is more successful than you? You better ask somebody. You better ask somebody. How does Dak Prescott be more popular? I heard someone say, I got to do more research on this. I'll reserve final say on this. But someone said in the media that Dak Prescott is the most popular quarterback in the league. Now, I believe he's the most popular quarterback in the league because that can be good and bad. But he actually said, if I'm not mistaken, he's the most loved quarterback in the league. Well, you wouldn't know it by the way the media talks. But I believe it because he's on the most valuable franchise in the world. I believe it. I'm telling you something. And I'm sorry, the Dallas Cowboys need to start having a seminar. Appreciate you, brother Roger, for that super sticker. Let me tell you something. The Cowboys might need to start having a seminar, their own separate seminar at the draft. If you can't handle attention, let us know. If you can't handle being in the spotlight, let us know. If what people say about you bothers you, let us know. If people watching you work out, if people watching you practice, if people watching you, if it bothers you, let us know, because you're not the player for us. Because playing for the Dallas Cowboys, man, it's on and off the field. We're going to get into this article. Dak is more popular. Spider-Man said Dak is more popular because he gets better sleep with his sleep number bed. Man, I don't know. He does talk about how good he sleep at night. Hey, I bet you this too. Boy, I bet his sleep is a whole lot better sleeping on top of $60 million. Man, $230 million guaranteed. Boy, that'd make you sleep good too, won't it, Spider-Man? But I'm telling us, this lady, I don't know what her name is, but this is an ESPN article. Her name is Kaylin Collar. Kaylin Collar. She's the one that's got this firestorm started. She reports October 23rd, 2024. A tour guide presents a wild display of the Dallas Cowboys' proudest achievements to a group of 20-plus people crowded in front of him, many wearing a mix of Cowboys jerseys. At the other end of the hallway, less than a football field away, are the Cowboys' position meeting rooms. A player opens a door and walks out. Before we get started, we have a few ground rules, the tour guide says. If a player or coach walks by, don't yell, don't talk to them. Don't take pictures of any people. If they come up to you, that's fine. It's a work day here at the Dallas Cowboys. It's 10 a.m. on Friday before the 3-2 Cowboys play the 4-1 Lions, a highly anticipated proven game against a tough and healthy opponent. Prescott and Lamb have yet to find their groove. The run game is non-existent, and the defense is battling injuries at nearly every position. Players and coaches are in meetings ahead of their walkthrough. This is the football staff's office, a space the 31 other NFL clubs reserve for the team employees during the season. The tour guide just reminded this group that this is a work day, so why are the fans here? You see this? So she's implying, even though she mentions the Lions are tougher and healthier than the Cowboys, Dak and CD haven't found their groove, battling injuries at every position almost. But the real story is that there's a tour going on in the Star where the coaches and the players are. And this right here is a distraction. If I'm reading this, this is the least of their problems. If a fan, and they're talking 20 or less, and Mike Fisher has already said today, he's been reporting on this, that these are absolute lies because it's not normally even that many who are walking through the star. And so she keeps adding these quips about, this is where the Cowboys players eat, train, work, practice. The employee told an inquiring group of potential customers. They're here 99% of the time. Stadium tours are common across the NFL, but the upbeat tour guides to the Star are quick to point out that Dallas is the only team to offer the general public this access to its facility. The Packers tours of Lambeau Field intentionally steer clear of player areas in the stadium, which doubles as Green Bay's facility. The Chargers invited fans to a free open house of their new facility, but it took place in July before players reported for training camp. But let's look at this. You know the difference? Because nobody cares about those teams like they do the Dallas Cowboys. Those teams are not bringing in the revenue of the Dallas Cowboys. Those teams are not as popular as the Dallas Cowboys. And so what Jerry Jones is doing, love him, like him, or hate him, but he knows that he has a product that everyone loves, either to hate or to like. Well, he's finding ways to not only satisfy their thirst for the Cowboys, but to also make it profitable. Capitalism at its finest. I absolutely love it. Now, we can agree with it or disagree with it, but this is Jerry Jones. This is what he's always done. This isn't different. This isn't new. This is what he's always done. And so, will you get PTSD if the helicopters land on the field? You know what I found that I didn't realize Mike Fisher's been talking about this? The helicopter thing is not unusual. He said that's where they park the helicopter. He said it doesn't happen at practice frequently. That's not a frequent thing. But do we not understand that people who work there, who play for the Cowboys, they should understand, man, it's par for the course. This is Jerry Jones. I don't know about y'all, but you know what? I'm be honest with you. My mentality is different. Spider-Man says, I wonder how long the lines are for the Cleveland tours. I guarantee you they're not long. And you know them same people who be talking about Jerry Jones? They would love the opportunity to do it too. And you know what these other 31 teams wish? They wish they were as profitable as the Dallas Cowboys. They wish they were as popular. They wish that they could be doing these tours the Cowboys are doing. Now, I'll admit, I think the only part that Jerry has to get right, and I think that's where he's trying to now get right, is now Jerry is saying that now we got to win. Now we got to win. So what we're going to do is we're going to undo some of these bad contracts, try to get from up under some of these contracts. And then what we're going to do is we're going to try to get some players with the right mentality in here. And we're going to rebuild this thing from mostly the ground up. And we're going to come out and we're going to win this thing, or we're going to win over the next 4 years, because I don't believe that Jerry is signing Dak Prescott without the intention of winning the Super Bowl. Jerry has a plan. Problem is nobody likes the plan. And so you think about, they've been making this huge deal, and I'll go back and post this article in here, and I'm pretty sure you've heard some things about what's going on with this. And, she points out in the article here, she says that the Cowboys say tours of the Star and AT&T Stadium combined sell about 500,000 tickets per year and generate nearly $10 million of annual revenue, which is considered football-related income and included in the league's revenue share with the players who receive 48%. Can I help those of us who don't understand economics? Because I already knew that this was factual. Can I help those of us who don't understand economics? What Jerry Jones is doing, everybody is eating off of it. Everybody's eating off of it. And they wish they could monetize it the way Jerry has monetized it. But they can't monetize it the way that Jerry has because they're not as popular as the Dallas Cowboys. They're not. And I promise you, if other teams could pull this off, they would be doing it. They would be doing it too. They would be doing it too. And that's why I laugh. Let's get into a couple of the players. Watch this. So she picked some players who have complained about this. Former Cowboys tight end Dalton Schultz created an entire news cycle last March when he told Pat McAfee the Cowboys facility was like a zoo because fans tapped on the glass walls of the weight room to get the players' attention while they were working inside. Schultz was the first to say it out loud. Let me tell you something else about Dalton Schultz. You know what he was mad about? He was mad that the Cowboys wouldn't extend that doggone contract. He wanted a long-term contract with the Dallas Cowboys because Dalton Schultz said that I'm the best tight end in the league. I'm top 5 in the league, and I deserve top 5, top 3, or the number 1 tight end pay in the league. Hold on a second. My spidey senses are tingling once again. Let me see if I'm right. Y'all help me out. Maybe I'm not thinking right, because before I even pulled this up, I got a strange feeling that Dalton Schultz is not the number 1 tight end in the league. Maybe he could be. I could be totally wrong. Let me make sure I got the right thing here. Okay, players, because this is actually the fantasy football rankings. So let me see. Let me do this again. Top tight ends 2024. So I'm guessing that they're piling this all into one here. Let me see here. Okay. All right, now, let's look at something for a second. Let me tell you something. See, you got to look at the underbelly of when men be flapping their gums. See, Dalton Schultz, I'm not saying that Dalton Schultz is not credible, but I'm going to talk out of both sides of my mouth. Dalton Schultz is not credible. He's not credible because I can remember when he said this. Dalton Schultz was all in his feelings because he thought, because of the numbers he was putting up with one Rain Dakota Prescott, that he was him. He was elite. But let's look at where he ranks in 2024. Hey, you know what? We're from Texas over here. I knew C.J. Stroud was going to be good when he came to the pros. Didn't quite know he was going to be this good, but C.J. Stroud is good. He's over here playing with C.J. Stroud. Even tried to take a couple of other shots at Dak Prescott, playing with the Houston Texans. Talking about he loved playing with the Houston Texans. Let's look at where he ranks. Tier 1, Sam Laporta. Strange. I don't see Dalton Schultz. Number 2, Travis Kelce. Number 3, Dalton Kincaid. Number 4, Mark Andrews. Number 5, Trey McBride. Anybody see Dalton Schultz? Those are the tier 1 tight ends. Y'all know why Dalton Schultz was mad at the Dallas Cowboys? Because Dalton Schultz said that I'm a tier 1 tight end. I'm a tier 1 tight end. I ought to be getting paid like I'm a top 5, tight end, Dallas. Okay, we franchise tagged you one time. You underperformed. We were not going to extend you. Look at it. Tier 2, Kyle Pitts. 7th, George Kittle. 8th, David Njoku. 9, Evan Ingram. Dallas Goedert, number 10. Brock Bowers. Jake Ferguson, number 12. And at number 13, Dalton Schultz. Do y'all know that when he was with Dak Prescott? Do y'all know that when Dalton Schultz was with Dak Prescott? He was a tier 1 tight end. He was a top-ranked tight end with Dak Prescott. The NFL was singing the praises of Dalton Schultz and how good he was. Strange, isn't it? Strange, isn't it? That he's talking about when he's gone. He was talking about it was a distraction and all these things before he got gone, but also while there was an issue going on with that contract. Strange, isn't it? I'm not listening to Dalton Schultz. I'm not listening to Dalton Schultz. And I'm not excusing, per se, Jerry Jones. I mean, it is what it is. I mean, if there are certain players who feel like it's a distraction, it's a distraction. But I say for those players, I don't care if they're current or past, you're on the wrong team. You're literally on the wrong team. Because Jerry Jones is not going to stop being Jerry Jones. Bullet Loco says therein lies the problem. Jerry continues to see record profits. So in his eyes, he sees he's doing something great. Which, watch this, Bullet Loco. Let's separate the two. He is being successful. But that's also a problem. But he is being successful. I brought this up last week. Isn't it strange? The media is complaining. Past players, some of them may be complaining. You know what I find to be strange? Why are the NFL owners not complaining? Why are they not complaining? Why is the NFL not complaining? Where are all the complaints from the people who could actually maybe do something about what Jerry Jones is doing? Where's the complaining? Kind of hard to complain when you eating, huh? Kind of hard to complain when your mouth full, huh? Kind of hard to complain when your pocket's full, huh? Can you imagine the money the NFL is making off of the revenue sharing when the Dallas Cowboys is pulling so much weight? I can tell you why they're not complaining. Jerry Jones, and what Jerry's got to get better at, Jerry is sacrificing, in some respects, the success of his own team. And I don't know if it's this stuff. And that's where I push back also. I don't know if it's this stuff, because this stuff been going on. This lady comes out reporting this, and this stuff been going on. And they've been winning 12 games a season. And you can tell me anything you want to. Anybody can tell me anything they want to. But it was not the fact. It wasn't the fact that folks was getting tours at the Star that we couldn't stop the run against the Green Bay Packers. And we couldn't run against the Green Bay Packers. That's not people walking through with distractions. And if those are the distractions, then shame on that team and not Jerry Jones. Talking about grown men getting paid millions of dollars. Man, miss me. Jerry Jones, you pay me $35 million. Man, if I was able, Jerry Jones paid me $32 million to catch a football for him. He make me the second highest paid wide receiver. Jerry Jones, you can bring folks all up in through here. You own this, not me. You bring who you want to up in here. I don't care if you bring my bully enemy from the 3rd grade. You bring him in here too. Because who you are bringing in here does not affect my ability on the field. What Jerry's got to get better is Jerry's got to do better going forward in getting them the players. That's what Jerry got to do forward. But the thing that people keep getting mixed up, they'll say, well, how do you be the richest franchise in the world and you can't afford players? Because what Jerry makes for the team and the salary cap are two separate things. And where Jerry is falling short is he can't seem to manage the salary cap. Jerry got to do better in that respect. Jerry got to do better. And I'm going to tell y'all something. Even if Jerry Jones is no longer the GM, we got to be careful in what we're saying. You think the tours at the Star is going to stop? We think they're going to stop bringing people that close to the players? Because that's exactly why They're making that $10 million because these people, these fans, they get an experience that you can't get anywhere else. That's called business. Jerry Jones is genius. And I haven't heard coaches say it's a distraction. I've heard very few players say it's a distraction. And I don't find it to be strange that the more you read this article, why is it that the players, quote unquote, who are making these complaints, these players who say that this is a distraction, I don't find it to be strange that in most instances, these are players that are not that good anyway. They're not world beaters. They're not on teams making these huge differences. They're not doing it. I'm telling us. And let me show you this right here. I thought this was interesting. Cowboys defensive end KJ Henry arrived in Dallas the first week of October this season, and he'd already been prepped by his Bengals teammate Justin Rogers, a former Cowboy. He talked about the tours all the time, just saying that's the difference, Henry says. Like people are always touring, always walking through the facility, so just be ready to see random people. How does this help me out, Justin? I wish I could interview Justin Rogers, so please, Justin Rogers, could you help me out? How did these tours and people, random people walking in and through and out, how did that distract you with the game plan? How did that distract you in your assignment? How did that distract you in your ability to execute? How did that distract you? What are we talking about? What are we talking about? This is absolutely in the grand scheme of things. I'm not saying that people don't get distracted. And watch this. I'm not saying that people don't get irritated. Maybe you don't like that kind of stuff. But I've worked at a lot of places. And there are just certain things, well, maybe I didn't like them. But at the end of the day, they didn't hire me to like everything they're doing. Do you know what they hired me for? They hired me to do my job. And I'm not listening. I'm not being mean. I'm just saying I'm listening, but I don't know. Maybe I just got a different mentality. But to hear men making millions of dollars complain about people walking through a glass, behind a glass while you're practicing, I don't understand it. But we have to understand, we let people program us. We let people program us. And like I said, Spider-Man says, how much weight does an ex-girlfriend carry? So I could care less what ex-players have to say. Boom. Exactly. What kind of mentality must you have for this to be distracting to you? Man, I'm telling you, these guys are built different. I'm going somewhere. I'm building up to something that I'm going to show you, and I don't want to use. I'm telling you, these men may need to check what they're made of. I got news for you, Mr. Rogers. There are going to be 80,000 random people in the stands on Sunday. I used to ask my son all the time, what does it feel like? Because, see, this era of football is different when I was playing football. See, high school football today, man, some of these places, man, it's almost like watching a college football game or a professional football game. People piling in 10,000, sometimes 15, 20,000 people into a high school football game. And I was asking my son, I'm like, man, what does it feel like, you out there playing and people watching? And my son said something. It was fascinating to me because I couldn't even fathom it. I got one son, he scored multiple touchdowns. I got one son, he's really good in basketball. And for them, I noticed something about them. My one son that played basketball, people would always be screaming and hollering things that he was doing on defense, rebounds he was making, shots he was making sometimes. And he said that he fed off that stuff. He fed off that stuff. My sons who played football, my one son, he played cornerback, and he said, I don't even hear it. I don't even hear nothing when I'm playing. I mean, I'm just focused on what I'm doing. I don't even hear stuff. You don't think high school guys got stuff going on during the week? Stuff going on, just schoolwork, grades, classes, spats with friends, girlfriends, all kinds of stuff. You think that when you get to the point of being grown men, that this stuff right here, it ain't gonna bother you. We're talking about grown men blessed to play a kid's game. Complaining about business? Y'all can call it distractions all you want to. And I'm not going to disagree with you if you call it distractions. You can. But it's business. It's business. And football, y'all better stop playing. Football is not just a mere sport. Business. Business. That's why we're talking about contracts. Business. Business. It's a business also. Hey, you handle your business. Your business is to come in here and play. That's your business. I don't understand, but sometimes we have to understand. We give people reasons to complain. And, you know, she goes down the line and she's got these players. She says you're walking by the tour guide and they're pulling the fans to the side and you hear them say, oh, that's CD, that's CD, says former Dallas safety J-Ron Curse, started on 3 straight 12-win games. Like Dalton said, it's kind of like you're in a zoo and kids are going to see a lion. That's not a reason why we didn't get over that hump. Stop right there. Stop right there. So what are we talking about then? So what are we talking about, J-Ron Curse? It's strange with all the problems, and I'm not calling him out, but J-Ron Curse had all kinds of problems. But you have a problem with somebody recognizing you for something good, as in you're J-Ron Curse. You play for the Dallas Cowboys. It comes with the territory, even though he didn't say, they said that's J-Ron Curse. You're walking by the tour guide and they're pulling the fence to the side and you hear them say, oh, that's CD Lamb. Watch this. Mike Fisher said something today, and I don't agree with Mike Fisher on a lot, but I think Mike Fisher is saying something because he resides in the building. He works in the building. How often, I wonder, did that happen? What's the frequency level? What's the frequency level of people walking through and say that's CD? I wonder what the frequency level is. I would love to know what are the time slots of these particular tours. I'd love to know what it is. And I'm sorry, CD Lamb, you are the second highest paid wide receiver in football. You go to a restaurant, they're probably going to have to shut it down. That's your life. You know, I laugh, guys like Russell Crowe, they want you to go see their movies. They want you to go patronize their movies. They want you to make their movie the #1 movie at the box office. Whoa, Russell Crowe. Then you see him at the grocery market and you want to take a picture of him. He want to throw a shopping cart at you. He want to fight you. Don't take my picture. Well, how about I not go see your pictures? It comes with the territory. When you're famous, when you're a superstar, it's a lot more difficult to live a normal life because, let's be honest, you're not living a normal life. And Jerry Jones is trying to tell these players, when you play for the Dallas Cowboys, and he might need to tell them a little bit more emphatically, hey, this is not the everyday average NFL team. It's not. Roberta Bacon says, does not seem to bother my grandson, and he's in high school. We're talking about a mentality here, people. We're talking about a mentality. And while I can agree with Loco said, and therein lies the problem, I could see some of what he's saying. And I say that's not from the player's perspective. The problem that Jerry Jones has is he's got to not balance this. He got to stop trying to balance it. He's got to say now, somewhere in here, the team winning is more important now. I don't want my team to be popular even when they're losing. I want my team to be more popular because they're winning. But watch this part, y'all. We don't even know what they're going to be at the end of the season. They're not 0-10. They're not 2-12. They're not 3-13 with the last game to go don't mean anything. They're 3-3 and they're in the thick of it. And despite everyone saying Jerry didn't get Derrick Henry, Jerry didn't get Amari Cooper, Jerry didn't get Devontae Adams, Jerry not getting this person. Now they're talking about Cooper Kupp. Every time somebody come up, why is Jerry not doing this? And he's still 3-3. With a coach on a lame duck contract that now people are acknowledging. His play calling has been atrocious. His route designs have been atrocious. They are decimated with injuries on the defensive side of the ball, injuries on the offensive side of the ball. And you would think, based on these articles, I don't even understand the relevance or the context of the article, because distractions from the star is not why this team is 3-3. And J-Run Curse, he said the same thing. It's not the reason we didn't get over the hump. Now, we want to talk about Jerry the GM. Well, now we got a valid argument. Because every time I watch Derrick Henry break for an 80-yard run, every time I watch Derrick Henry stiff arming some grown man to the ground like they're playing Pee Wee League, like they're a Pee Wee League player. Every time I see Derrick Henry, he's having a career year. It makes me wonder what could have been. But I also got Jerry Jones in my mind because maybe he's making some sense. With the offensive line we have, the play design we have, could Derrick Henry be doing what he's doing now? I mean, we got to look at it for what it is, whether we like it or not. But the work is if we're talking GM, we got valid arguments. We can really argue against Jerry the GM. But when we're talking about distractions because people are walking through the star, this writer don't even realize she indicted herself. J-Run Curse was on 3-12 wins, on 3-12-win teams. How does this play into, and even he admitted, but how does this play into them not winning? So if it doesn't play into them losing, just like it didn't play into them losing or winning, why is this been such a focus? That's why I say this team isn't doomed by the distractions of the owner. He's been that owner. He's been that for years. He's been that. I think where this team is crumbling, if it is crumbling, I mean, we don't even know yet. It's 3-3. But I do say it's exposing the mentality. Because if anyone is bothered by this idiotic piece that this woman wrote, which is clearly par for the course as it applies to ESPN. They're writing a hit piece to get clicks. That's all it is. They're writing a hit piece to get clicks. And it's insane when you think about this in the grand scheme of things. And the Dak Attack show, he said something that I think is kind of ironic. He might have said it on X. But you got to understand something. If you don't like attention and you play baseball, don't you dare play for the New York Yankees. Don't you dare play for the New York Yankees. Because even when they're losing, everybody's watching them. Everybody's talking about them. You better not dare, if you're a basketball player and if you don't like attention, if you get distracted easily, don't you dare play for the Los Angeles Lakers. Y'all know why LeBron James likes the Los Angeles Lakers? Because LeBron James loves the spotlight. And what better team to get the spotlight to end or on than playing with the Los Angeles Lakers. That's why he's playing with the Los Angeles Lakers. And Klay Thompson can say anything he wants to say. He's saying, well, it's about championships. And I want to prove that, I could be this piece on a team that could be the reason why they win. All that. You know what? Save me all that talk. There's a reason why he went to the Dallas Mavericks for less money than he could have got from the LA Lakers. Because it's a pressure cooker. It's a pressure cooker. You put Klay Thompson with LeBron James, you know what everybody's talking about? You put him with LeBron James, you know what everyone is expecting? Surely they're going to get a championship. Surely they are going to get a championship because look at who is on there. You got LeBron James, Anthony Davis, and now you're adding this sharpshooter Klay Thompson, who is not a sharpshooter anymore. You know why? He can say anything he wants to say, but a part of that is he did not, and he admitted as much in a sense. He didn't want to be in that pressure cooker. He didn't want to be in that pressure cooker. He was already in the pressure cooker of he's not the same Klay Thompson for the Golden State Warriors. He didn't want to be in that pressure cooker of. Now he's going to the Lakers to play with LeBron James and Anthony Davis. Surely they're going to win a championship. Nah, he didn't want to be a part of that pressure cooker. So he goes to the Dallas Mavericks. The Dallas Mavericks is a good team, but it's not a pressure cooker. Luka Doncic, he is the draw. He's the star. Kyrie Irving, he's the second best player. He's the star. Klay Thompson. I don't even know where he sits in that, the way he's been playing, the way he played in the preseason. We're going to see what he does in the season. But I'm saying all of that. I digress. But I'm saying all of that because he did not want to be in that pressure cooker. And if you can't stand being in that pressure cooker, you're with the wrong team. And your mentality is not the right mentality to be on that team. Pulling out this guy, Dorrance Armstrong, he says, I'm smiling when I walk in the building here. I just know I just have work, said 6 years Cowboys defensive end, Dorrance Armstrong. He been out of shape too. You know why? It's easy for people who didn't get the deals, who didn't get the contracts, to talk bad about their team. Man, miss me. Miss me. Miss me with this kind of talk. Come on, man. We don't even know what they're going to be yet. They're 5-2. They're 5-2. We don't know what they're going to be at the end of the season. They got one of the easiest schedules in the league. We don't know what they're going to look like. But I'm telling us, this is crazy in the grand scheme of things. Tony Pollard said this is more about football, just X's and O's. Running back Tony Pollard, who spent 5 seasons with the Cowboys. You better believe it is. You're playing for the most popular franchise in the world. And you said who spent 5 seasons with Cowboys says about this team, Tennessee Titans, I'm in a better place mentally, physically, emotionally, spiritually, just all around. You know what he's saying? I didn't have the mentality to play for the Cowboys. Because he better not say, because I wanted to win. You 1-6, man. You 1-6. This is this generation we're dealing with. It's all about their mental. Oh, it's emotional. Oh, my feeling, man. I don't care nothing about your feelings. Get your butt out here and run the ball. That's all I care about. Oh, man, I don't feel right. I'm not concerned. That's why we're not paying you for your feelings. That's not what we're paying you for. We're paying you to play football, to help us win games. So watch this. Y'all got to help me out. What kind of stinking mentality is this? Let me go back. Let me go back again because we got to talk facts here. Y'all got to help me out. I'm missing something. What kind of stinking mentality is this? Let's go down here. Where is this team at? Y'all give me just a second. We got to see this for ourselves. Here we go. We got to see this for ourselves. I want you to relate these two things. Relate these two things. This man says, let's look at this again. This is more about football, X's and O's, running back Tony Pollard, who we didn't re-sign, who spent 5 seasons with the Cowboys, says about this new team, the Tennessee Titans, I'm in a better place mentally, physically, emotionally, spiritually, just all around. What kind of stinking mentality is this? That this man says this, and let's look at where he is. You 1-5. But wait a minute. With you, you're showing us something. It's neither about winning or losing, Tony Pollard. It's not about winning or losing. It's about how you feel emotionally. I don't care what anyone says. I'd rather be on a 3-3 team any day before I'm on a 1-5 team who we know. People talking about that we don't even see 6 wins for the Dallas Cowboys this year. Y'all tell me how many you see for the Tennessee Titans. How many wins do you see for the Tennessee Titans? And we got a man complaining about folk walking through the Star while they're lifting weights or practicing as if that's an everyday occurrence. He's complaining about them watching him when he's weightlifting, quote unquote. And I guess people walking up to him saying, that's Tony Pollard. Who know you on Tennessee? You just like to lose quietly, right? You just like to lose with no attention, right? Miss me. This is stupid talk. Ain't no way I want to be on a team that's 1-5. How am I gonna feel good 1-5? This man can say anything. Let me show y'all something. Boy, let me show y'all. Terrible mentality. Terrible mentality. This is insane when you think about it. Let's see if we can, let me see something here. Let's see if we can make some sense of this. Let's see if we can make some sense of this. So I'm in a better place, but I'm 1-6. I'm in a better place. But somebody who knows just a little bit about football, Tennessee Titans 1-6. They said the Cowboys aren't going to win more than 6 games. They said that early in the season. They're already halfway there. The Tennessee Titans are 1-5. Does anybody see 6 wins in their future? Does anybody see 6 wins in the Tennessee Titans' future? So what could make Tony Pollard say that he's in a better place emotionally, mentally, physically, and all that other jargon? What could make him say that? I wonder, could it be this? I wonder, could it be a contract that the Dallas Cowboys said, we're not giving you? I wonder, could it be a contract where he's getting $21 million over 3 years? A contract where he got $10 million. A contract to where he's playing 2024. Looks like $4 million. 2025, $88.5 million, which potentially they can get out of this deal. Watch this part. I have a funny feeling that this is exactly, let me highlight this part for you. I have a funny feeling this is exactly where the Tennessee Titans are going to get out of this deal. 2 years, $14.5 million with a $2 million dead cap hit. I promise you that deal stops here. You know why he feels better? Could it be that he's guaranteed $14 million? Could that be the reason? because the money is the only thing that could make me think that a person that is on a terrible team with there's no light in sight of them being good, not only this year, but next year also. And you feel better than you did on the Dallas Cowboys when you went to the playoffs, where you were a major contributor to the Dallas Cowboys. And had they maybe brought you back this year, which with this line, we don't know how good you would have done, but I just believe you have more success with the Dallas Cowboys this year than you do with the Tennessee Titans. So watch this. So we will pick our feelings, our emotions, our comfortability, our feeling good. We pick all that over winning. Okay. I'm gonna let them tell it. I'm gonna let them tell it. But I find it to be strange that these people, y'all don't see a theme here. There's a theme here. They're asking all of these players who are no longer with the Dallas Cowboys. And some of them, whether we like it or not, with an axe to grind. They got an axe to grind. Kelvin Joseph, he never panned out. He never panned out. He can say anything. They're in Dallas. It was a lot of football and like other stuff. Well, Kevin Joseph, no hate on you. You just weren't good enough. You were not good enough. You were supposed to be Trayvon Diggs. You were supposed to be Deron Bland. You were not good enough. Deron Bland beat you out. You were not good enough. And it's strange how they're talking. And I still want to see Dante Fowler. He came out and he called Cap on the article. Dante Fowler said he didn't say none of this stuff. Yep, said he didn't even say it. But the point is simple. You got to help me with this. What is the relevance of this? How is these tours, how are these things the reason? And they're all admitting as much. It's because how can Tony Pollard say it? Tony Pollard played on those 12-win teams. And I dare say the last time the Cowboys played the San Francisco 49ers in that playoff game, if Tony Pollard doesn't get hurt, I think we're having a different game. So why would he be talking about? So these are really two different discussions. You're saying you don't like the business of the Dallas Cowboys. But what does the business of the Dallas Cowboys have to do with you performing on the field? And if it does, then you need to check yourself. And that's maybe why these players who are doing all of this complaining, there's a reason why they're not that good still. They're not. We can see why the Cowboys didn't sign those players. Now, Tony Pollard, I wish we would have signed. I don't know if I wish we would have signed him, but if we could have got him at a cheaper price, maybe 2 years for $10 million with some kind of bonus incentives would have been great. But for him to say that he's in a better place, there's a bad mentality. That's a bad mentality. And I'm sorry. I don't even want anybody. I'm sorry. I don't want to play with a person like that. Because if you're worried about that part if you're worried about that part, you're not worried about the right part. You're not. Spider-Man says you may be in a better place. And he is from Tennessee. Yeah, he at home. He around his family. Let's choose convenience over sacrificing a game that requires major sacrifice. Spider-Man, you let me know. Somebody let me know. I don't want to play with players like that. I don't want to play with players who talking about this part, because that part in the grand scheme of things, they're all saying the same thing. Is it a distraction on the field or not? Because if it's not a distraction on the field, who cares? Even when you're not on the field, people are paying attention to you. People are stopping you, asking you for autographs. Are you mad at them too because you play professional football? Man, I don't want to play with players like that. I can't do it. I can't do it. What's going on, No Cap? I can't do it. I can't play with players like that. Man, I'm sorry. You know what? I know there's some people not going to like what I'm saying. But I'm just telling you. Man, when you're highly skilled at something, when you're highly skilled and your skill brings you success, man, there's a certain type of ego you got to have. There's a certain kind of ego you got to have. You got to know you good. You got to know you good. And when you hit that field, you got to be an absolute monster. You got to wreck shop on folk. Everyone who stands in front of you, man, I don't care if you got to make up a reason. Boy, you make up a reason to annihilate them. Every single time you go against them, you're going to win. It's your job to make them look bad because they got the unmitigated gall to think they can hold you, think they can go against you, think they can block you, think they can stop you. Man, you got to have a different type of ego. And then when you step out that field, I don't play high school football any longer. Even the college players who are highly skilled, they have to change their mentality. When I'm on the field, it's football. But when I step off the field, I have to understand it's business. If I don't understand this business when I step off the field, then I don't need to be in the business of football. Even the NFL calls itself sports entertainment. You're not playing like you were in high school, man. You played for the love in high school. No. When you get to the professional level, you're not only playing for the love of it, you're playing for the business of it too. You can't separate the two. And you let those people who take care of business take care of business. They paying you to take care of your business. I can't play with players like that. I wouldn't want to play with players like that. Those players just sound salty. I guess they're not meant to be Cowboys. That comes with the star. People don't understand it. They need to have a seminar for the Cowboys team alone. They need to have just a seminar. Hey, let me let everybody know right now. Anybody who's going to play for the Dallas Cowboys, anybody who has, if they've contacted you, I need y'all to stay in the room. Everybody else leave. This is the most popular franchise in the world. Takes a different mentality to play here. If you can't play here, you might have to let them know in the interview. Because I'm going to tell y'all something. People don't like it. You can love it or hate it. There's a lot of people don't like Deion Sanders. I'm a huge Deion Sanders fan. That don't mean I like everything he does. Doesn't mean I like every decision that he does. Doesn't mean I pattern my life after him. But I just like Deion Sanders. He was he was the best cornerback to ever touch the field. He knew he was good. He was a monster on the field. But when he stepped off the field, everybody tell you Deion Sanders is genuinely a good guy for the most part. Very encouraging, very helping. He's a good, people like him. Let me tell you something what changed in Colorado. You got to have a different mentality to play there. You know why you got to have a different mentality to play for the Colorado Buffaloes now? Because Cam Newton's going to be standing on the sideline. Terrell Owens is going to be standing on the sideline. Oh, by the way, they're going to have ex-professional football players maybe even be on the coaching staff, like Warren Sapp, Ocho Cinco. He's trying to get on the staff. There's going to be stars on the sideline now at the Colorado Buffalo games. The players for the Colorado Buffaloes, they're going to get huge NIL deals. People will always be pulling and tugging on them. There's going to be people. How much you bet that there are people now at the Colorado Buffalo facility that were never there? They're walking through the weight room. They're walking through the practice field. They're all over the place. How much you bet Dion is telling them? You want to play here? You want to play here? If you don't have the right mentality, let me know now. Let me know now. And that's how college football is eventually going to get. Because there's money involved. There's business involved. There's more people hanging around these facilities now. It's changing. And if you can't handle that, you can't play for me. You can't play for me. And folks can get mad all they want to. But I don't want players. I don't want to play with players who running around complaining about the business. Oh, I want to be popular. Oh, yeah, I want to be popular, but I want folk to leave me alone at the same time. I want to be popular, but I don't want the team capitalizing on the popularity of the team. I want people to buy my jerseys, but I don't want to sign no autographs when I'm walking down the street because that's my time. You don't get no time. That's the territory that you are now in. And if you can't handle being in that territory, you got to ask yourself what territory you really made for. Man, this is entertainment. It's entertainment as much as it is football. It's entertainment. Your life changed when you were a professional football player and you halfway decent. You don't want other folk to come watch you do whatever you're doing, but I bet you when you step in the club, I bet you all the women are on you because someone says, hey, he played for the Dallas Cowboys. You go somewhere to a restaurant. Oh, yeah, he played for the Dallas Cowboys. All his food is free. His whole entourage food is free. His family food is free. I bet you not sending back the food. I bet you're not saying, nah, man, I don't want to draw no attention to myself. I bet you when you're getting all those things, you're not saying, nah, I don't want that stuff. We want everything that comes with it, but we don't want everything that comes with it. I don't want people like that on my team. I can't do it. I can't do it. And so when I saw this article, because I'm telling you, this article is exposing something whether we realize it or not. There's a mentality problem on this team. There's a mentality problem. And if you soften your mind, it translates on the field because you're always looking for an excuse for failure. I'm built different. Man, let me be playing on the Dallas Cowboys. Man, you know what I'm saying in my mind? Man, I'm playing for the Dallas Cowboys. Man, if I go out here and be top in my position and Jerry drafted me, Jerry loves his draft picks. 2, he might haggle some. He might delay paying me, but boy, when he pay me, I'm gonna be at the top of the chain. And not only that, I don't care what anyone says. Man, I'm playing for the Dallas Cowboys. And if I do good, my whole career after football is totally done. I'll be getting endorsement deals. I'll be getting commercial. And that's why I say people say 52 brands. I don't think there are 52 brands because not all 52 people can actually build a brand. But if you top in what you do and you play for the Cowboys, your career solidified on that field and when you decide to hang them cleats up off the field. And there's a reason. I believe Dak Prescott not only loves the Dallas Cowboys. Y'all don't think Dak Prescott is a businessman too? Dak Prescott was telling us all along and we wasn't listening. He said, this is a business. And I got to remember that. And that's why he said, if Jerry don't sign me, I won't be mad. It's easy not to be mad when you know that there are so many teams hungry for a quarterback that if Jerry don't give it to you, you're going to get it from somewhere else. And you still going to be able to play the game that you love. Man, people don't understand the mentality that has to go into this stuff. And so I want to play for you something. And it's strange to me. And I don't, maybe I'm jumping to conclusions. I'm jumping to conclusions maybe because I don't really know everything that's going on. But I'm going to show y'all 2 interviews. One interview today with Dak Prescott. The other interview with CD Lamb. And both of them are going to be asked about the distractions as it applies. Because we're not even talking. I want y'all to think about how dumb this discussion is. We're not talking about on the field. Not talking about on the field. We're talking about off the field. It's not play related. It's not even player related in a sense. We're talking about business that everyone knows has always been there. I want y'all to hear the difference between the answers of one Dak Prescott and CD Lamb. And then I'm going to really tell you what I think about this. Let's roll it. Let's see what we got. Hold on just a second. Y'all got to hear this. This is mind-blowing to me to hear this answer from both of them. Listen to this.
Saying the same thing? Oh, okay. 2 different things.
Some former players have just been outspoken about tours being a distraction. Do you feel that way at all? And if so, what's your response?
I mean, for once, is all I know. I'm not going to let a couple of people touring the building distract me. I'm present where I am. I think, simply, honestly, I feel like it's an excuse. I mean, what's the difference in you guys coming in the locker room and talking? You know what I mean? Honestly, with guys bitch about that too, and I don't get that. I mean, it's being a professional. Some things you deal with. Obviously, I guess the nature of this organization, you know, the tours are probably 10 times more than other places if the other places are doing them. I think some do, right? I mean, no? Well, okay, there you go, Cowboy.
Some do.
Yeah, some do. But I guess, you know, passing up the guys. I mean, you know. Yeah, you've just got to embrace it. I mean, honestly, to me, you can walk by and you can have a negative mindset about it and allow that to ruin your day, or you can, you know, be thankful that you're in an organization that people want to see. And, you know, for me, it's just easy to say what's up, wave, and keep walking. Obviously, they can't talk to you, so I think that's where I've heard, right, you feel like a zoo animal. Well, it's like, you know, sometimes, I bark back and I say, hey, and, you know, you just keep rolling. So a lot going on that I'm not going to allow a couple of people through the workplace. There's people on the other side of the building that you don't necessarily know. Is it a distraction when you're grabbing your plate and they're grabbing theirs? That it's easy to focus on what you want to focus on if that's your mindset.
Is that a difference?
Did you hear what Dak Prescott said? I'm not going to let a couple of people. Now, notice, Dak is hearing things people saying. One Dalton Schultz is like a zoo. You focus on what you choose to focus on. Oh, man, hold on. Before I really get into this, let me let you hear what CD Lamb says. And then we really gonna draw, and I don't know, I could be totally wrong. Y'all. But I'm about to show y'all, I see now that there may be a disconnect in more ways than one. Let me see where I can get. CD didn't really do a long one today. Let's see. Let me see if this is the right spot.
We needed that.
Okay, wait. Oh, yeah. It's right here. Watch this. Watch what CD does.
Do you see the tours as a distraction?
Sometimes.
Hold on.
Do you see?
I want y'all to see his face. Watch this.
Do you see the tours as a distraction? Do you see the tours as a distraction?
Sometimes.
Y'all see the problem? Do y'all see the problem? He said sometimes, and let me play it one more time because he says something right here at the end. I want you to catch.
Do you see the tours as a distraction? Do you see the tours as a distraction?
Sometimes. That's all I'm gonna say. Thank you, man.
Why is that all you're gonna say? Because you actually said everything you needed to say. This is what Dak Prescott has been talking about. The mental makeup of this team. See, people are running around talking about Dak Prescott, but Dak Prescott actually has the mental makeup that it requires to be the quarterback for the Dallas Cowboys. Because Dak Prescott is saying the same things that I'm saying in essence. You can't have it both ways. You should be glad to be on the most popular, most valuable franchise in the world. I'm not going to let the fact that the owner, his business, he owns the team. He allows tours to come through the team because our team is just that popular. People love our team that much. They're going to do these tours. We're going to see them. Notice what he said. One or two people, you would make them, the way they said as a zoo. I don't know about y'all. Y'all tell me the last time you went to the zoo and there were one or two people. Man, you must be, and I don't care if you get there when it opens and be the first one in line. When is there ever one or two people at the zoo? Even at closing. To compare what animals go through in the zoo, where all they're getting is food and they're in captivity, to men who some are making millions of dollars and they're benefiting, not just on the field, they're benefiting off the field. And you got the audacity to compare yourself to animals in the zoo? This is an issue for me. This is an issue. You're talking about men with two different mentalities. What do you mean sometimes? What does that comment even mean? Sometimes. What does that mean? So you're going to leave people to just kind of, think what they want or draw any conclusion that they want to. Y'all know what I'm telling y'all? There's a mentality problem in this building. There's a mentality problem. Because Dak is killing it. I'm not going to let a couple of people, and if someone says or barks or says hi, I say hi and I keep on going. They're behind glass. They watch you behind glass on Sunday. I'm watching you behind glass or whatever these flat screen TVs are made out of. Everybody's watching you. There are people in the stadiums watching you. There are people hollering out obscenities when you're on the sideline. Man, y'all better recognize something. These fans at these games be ruthless. They're saying all kinds of things to these players when they're on the sideline, when they come in from being on the field. They're saying all kinds of things. But you're telling me that some people walking through while you're practicing and they're behind glass. You're playing in front of 80,000 people. And you're telling me somewhere from 5 to 10 to 15, 20 at the most, and it's not even all the time. You're telling me that's a distraction. Y'all can tell me anything y'all want about Jerry the GM, but Jerry the GM is not the problem for this team. Spider-Man, very troubling. Very troubling. Very troubling. There's something wrong here. Amen, Roberta. People don't understand. Jerry has figured this thing out. This is what makes people love his team, like his team, want to be close to his team. That's what Jerry's doing. That's his business. But at the end of the day, Jerry isn't paying CD Lamb to make his business decisions. Jerry isn't even paying CD Lamb to even worry about his GM decisions. Even though, like I said, now if we want to criticize those, man, we can criticize those all day till the cows come home. And rightfully so. Rightfully so in some instances. But you know what? At the end of the day, I'm still saying the place where I'm confused on this whole thing about the Dallas Cowboys, we're not even letting the season play out. It's 3-3. And I can't wait for these people who keep saying that the Dallas Cowboys are not going to even win 6 games. People saying over the next 5 games, the Cowboys are going 1-5. Okay. I'm willing to put a paycheck on it. I promise you they're not going 1-5 in the next 5 games. Ain't no way. Ain't no way. When this team is 6 games in, they're going to be 6-5 or whatever the case may be. Watch how people's reaction going to change again. They're going to move the needle again. They're going to keep on moving it to more the Cowboys. And don't mess around and let the Cowboys get in the playoffs with this team they have. Because then people are going to do some apologizing to Jerry Jones. This team go deep in the playoffs, they'll move the needle again. If Jerry got to the NFC Championship game, if Jerry had Derrick Henry, he'd have won the NFC Championship game. They're going to move the needle as it applies to the Cowboys because they're going to keep on trying to get those likes, keep on trying to get those clicks. Man, hold up. This one made me become a follower. Hey, man. Hey, keep on, bro. We got a whole lot, man. I'm telling us, man, these people are brainwashed. I'm telling us, Night Train, let us get to the end of the season. Can we get to the end of the season? Man, we 3-3. These folks will have you brainwashed thinking we 0-6. Man, we got to get, man, let us get to the end of the season. I got problems with CD. Y'all see that same attitude he had there? That's the same one we've been watching in him running them routes. He's been lackadaisical running those routes because things are not the way that he want them to be. It's not what Jerry paying you for. Jerry pays you to be the second best wide receiver in the league. He paying Jalen Tolbert to be the best 4th round draft pick. I mean, maybe a 4th, might have been a 3rd. But you, now he's not paying you for draft pick. He ain't paying you for what you were in the draft no more. He's paying you to be the second best and possibly the best wide receiver in the game. Spider-Man said Jerry is the owner on top of his game, but I wish Jerry the GM. There it is, Spider-Man. Now, we want to make those arguments. Let's make them. Don't talk to me about Jerry the owner. There's no other owner I'd want to play for. Jerry the best owner in football. Jerry the best owner in football. He's the worst, and I don't know if he's the worst GM, but he's definitely in the bottom 10. I wish Jerry the GM would have recognized the player that he gave a huge contract to could be distracted by tours. Woo! See, someone said this on the chat the other day, but there is nothing like a person, there is nothing like a player in a contract year. There's nothing like them. You get them players, they be in them contract years, man, boy, they be wheeling and dealing. They wheel and they deal. But that's not their mentality. Their mentality comes out when they get the money. You ever notice how a lot of those players, they get that money and they fall off the map? CD is in danger. Not you, Siri. I said CD. CD is in danger. You got to be careful with his mentality because he's starting to sound almost like he's entitled to something. He's starting to sound like that if everything isn't how I want it, then I'm not going to give maximum effort. I'm not going to do this. I'm not going to do this. And that's why people do not understand. This is exactly why. Y'all don't understand something. Troy could have did what he did in a whole bunch of different ways. But Troy Aikman played with some absolute dogs. Troy Aikman knows how to bring the dog out of folk. He also knows how to deal with mentality. There's a reason why that clip we watched 4 or 5 days ago, why he was carrying on the way he was carrying on the sideline. Y'all know why? He wanted them to hear him. That's why he kept looking over. If you notice in that film, he kept looking over because he know he's in ear distance. He want them to hear him. There's a reason why he'd be in those linemen's face. There's a reason why he'd get in those wide receivers' faces from time to time. He wanted them to hear him. Y'all know why he did what he did in the form that he did it in? Because he wanted to. He meant to do it that way. Because guess what? It's the Dallas Cowboys. We know something about the Dallas Cowboys. It's rare that you can say something in secret and it still don't get to the press. So Aikman said, I'll beat you to the punch. I'll tell the world. CeeDee Lamb, you need to run better routes because you can. I don't know about y'all, but we don't understand context. I'm not going to tell you to do what you can't do. Why would I tell you to run better routes and you can't run better routes? I'm not going to tell you that unless I know you can do that better. I'm not going to do that. And I'm going to close us out with this. I got something I got to take care of. I want to be off at 8:30. I'll make sure tomorrow I'll be back at 6. But I want to show you something else. I'm going to show y'all something else that I found to be absolutely astounding. Jerry Jones has been doing Jerry Jones things even during the 90s when the Cowboys was winning Super Bowls. Jerry Jones has been doing this stuff. None of this stuff is brand new. And even with Jimmy Johnson, as good as Jimmy Johnson was, I saw Jimmy Johnson without players, and I saw Jimmy Johnson with players. I saw 0-16 Jimmy Johnson. I saw 2-time, technically 3-time Super Bowl winning Jimmy Johnson. When you have players that have an absolute dog in them, do y'all realize that these guys in the 90s were not getting paid what these guys are getting paid now? Michael Irvin wished he could have got a CeeDee Lamb contract. And as much as I like CeeDee Lamb couldn't hold a candle to Michael Irvin. He could not hold a candle to Michael Irvin. He wasn't making that kind of money. Those players in the 90s we're always talking about, they were not making that kind of, they were making good money for the time, but some of these contracts they're making today, they're well exceeding what some of those guys made. Troy, in his wildest dreams, in any time, didn't make the kind of money that Dak Prescott is making. But Dak got a dog mentality. But I think we're realizing something, whether we accept it or not. Right now, Dak ain't got no dogs around him. Dak don't have any dogs around him. And this player, CeeDee Lamb, as much as I like him, he's showing, he going to have to show us something going forward. We don't like no dog in him no more. That's why you take a player's best year and worst year, you take those out, and what's in the middle is what he is. I'm telling us. Roberto says, I need to be CeeDee's mom for like an hour. He be over my knee. I need to adopt him for a week. But I'm going to leave us with this. Found an article from way back in the day. This was written in 2020. And if I'm not mistaken, they're talking about these 90s Cowboys. It says, our 1990s sports dynasty also starred Michael, an intense, clutch, trash-talking, ring-winning playmaker, not Jordan, but Irvin. Do y'all know Michael Jordan was drinking Hennessy, smoking cigars, gambling, playing golf, running women, and still being the top player in the NBA? A lot of us don't realize that Michael Irvin and some of his guys who were running with him on the team. They were not only monsters on the field, but they were crazy off the field. There was a cocksure master motivating Phil Jackson of a coach, Jimmy Johnson. Theirs became ours madmen of a defender in the unique, colorful mold of Dennis Rodman. Two superstar Scottie Pippen sidekicks, Emmitt Smith and Troy Aikman. Even perfectly cast foils like Larry Bird, Brett Favre, Isaiah Thomas, Jerry Rice, and the bad boy Pistons, Philadelphia Eagles. Alas, those Dallas Cowboys also had their Jerry's Reinsdorf and Krause and Jerry Jones. This article is talking about when you start looking at these 90s dynasties, and when you look at all of the crazy, outlandish things they were doing, they were still winning. They were still winning. They were still winning. Said Irvin recently on 105.3 The Fan, we should have been right there running our dynasty right alongside the Bulls. Multiple stars, jaw-dropping athleticism, mesmerizing personas, management meddling, a crazed international fan base, Buffalo TV ratings, almost unprecedented winnings with the cameras rolling in the middle of a championship season. This is paralleling the Bulls and the Dallas Cowboys and how both of them experiencing the same thing with all of these things going on. They were still winning. It says if there were cameras rolling in the middle of the championship season, the Cowboys could give us the infamous White House. People don't understand about this White House. Let me see here. It jumped. Oh, here it is. It says, that's right. There's an entire generation that finds this hard to believe. But there was a time when the Cowboys frequently visited the White House, the one on 1600 Pennsylvania Avenue to toast titles, and the one at 115 Dorset Drive to blow off unimaginable steam. The things they were saying that was going on in this place. They obviously took care of business on the field. Says Anthony Paco Montoya, Irvin's former longtime personal assistant. But man, nobody partied like them. Fights, women, drinking, orgies. I'll just say this. If there would have been smartphones and social media back then, the Cowboys wouldn't have been able to field a team, wouldn't have been able to field a team come Sunday. Are we hearing this? Y'all wouldn't call those things distractions? Y'all know he left out something, don't you? He left out the drugs. You don't think drugs are a distraction? Fights, women, drinking, orgies? You don't think that's a distraction? He's saying that the things they were doing was so crazy that they probably wouldn't have been able to been let on anybody's field. He's saying something. There's a different mentality. There's a different mentality, man. I saw this article and I was like, people don't understand. The difference today and now is social media. Social media. And once again, I love what Dak Prescott did. Do y'all realize Dak Prescott is calling out his team? CeeDee Lamb and Dak Prescott, they can say anything they want to, but they're not on the same page in more ways than one. In more ways than one, they are not on the same page. Dak Prescott said, rather than complain about this thing that goes on with the Dallas Cowboys, he said, embrace it. Embrace it. Go out there and live up to the name or the star on the side of the helmet, not with the drama, buying into the media, but go out here and let's start winning and be like the 90s Cowboys. Dak got a different mentality. People can hate on Dak Prescott all they want to. Dak Prescott got a different mentality. And these players on his team, they're showing the same thing. He says the idiot Swisher got arrested for a gun on a plane and still won a Super Bowl with the Jimmy's players. Y'all want to hear something even crazier? A lot of people said Jimmy was at those White House parties. And I'm not talking about the one on 1600 Pennsylvania Avenue. They said Jerry was in them parties. Man, I'm telling y'all, the difference today and what has ruined so many is they've grown up in this social media area, in this social media era that's always dealing in folks' feelings. And you notice what they're doing again with the Dallas Cowboys? They're dealing in their feelings. They did. Emmitt Smith playing with that shoulder injury. They don't understand, Roberta. These dudes today, they hurt a toe. These dudes today, man, they'll hurt a toe. And they'll be out for the season. I'm telling us, the more we think about this, what we are dealing with is, before we even start talking about the X's and the O's, man, we're talking about mentality. We're talking about mentality. And a mentality, we have to understand, that's what a person is made of. And I said this a couple of weeks ago to some people that I was speaking to. Man, we need to know who we in the foxhole with. Because sometimes we don't know who we in the foxhole with until it's too late. And there are certain people, I'm just keeping it 100% real. There are just certain people that when there are things to be done or certain things you want to do, you don't want to be in the foxhole with them. They'll leave you for dead. Or they'll get what they want and they are absolutely gone. They are absolutely gone. But that's going to do it for me. Appreciate you, Spider-Man. That's going to do it for me. We're going to be back tomorrow. I'm going to be back full speed because, I'm going to be full-fledged tomorrow because we're going to start going over some of these matchups and some more things that the Cowboys need to do. We're going to really get into some numbers again tomorrow. But it's crazy to me these last couple of days of how the media has been so into the mental aspect of the Cowboys, not realizing now they're indicting the players. Because if the players think like they do, how can they win? How can they win if they're thinking like these people? Dak's not thinking like these people. I don't care what anyone says. Dak didn't want to lead the Cowboys. He didn't want to lead the Cowboys. He was willing to leave. Nah, Dak didn't want to leave the Cowboys. He loves it. He loves everything that comes with it. Dak, man, I'm telling you, it requires a different type of ego. Dak loves the attention. He loves it. He knows how to handle it, but he loves it. He absolutely loves it, man. Dak Prescott, I bet you he goes home and pinches himself after practice at night sometimes and say, man, I'm the quarterback of the Dallas Cowboys. The team that Roger Staubach took to a Super Bowl. The team that Troy Aikman took to a Super Bowl. And there's been nobody able to do it since Troy Aikman in 1995, I believe it is. Y'all don't think that this man wants a Super Bowl bad? I believe he's going to get him one too. I think he's too good of a guy not to get him one. And for everything that we hate on Jerry about, at the end of the day, we just got to wait and see. We just got to wait and see what the season is going to be. So if the Cowboys beat the 49ers, they just got to do one game at a time and just keep winning. Win the division. And you win the division, anything is possible. You get in even as a wild card, anything is possible. So they just got to focus on winning. And stop. Listen when. It's not a problem with listening. It's when you let what you're hearing affect you in the wrong way. And how you respond to things, how you receive things, that's your mentality. Your self-esteem, it's called self-esteem. And if it requires you, and I'm not saying, if it requires you to get to a peaceful place to be peaceful, well, that may be what you need to do. But for folk who understand that they're not doing something regular, and they don't want to just be regular, they want to be elite, they want to be known, they want to leave a legacy, then you're going to have to understand something. You're going to have to make some sacrifices. And there's some things that come along with that. And you're going to have to be mentally tough and mentally tougher than many folk around you. But again, appreciate you, Spider-Man. I hope that reporter enjoys her 15 minutes of fame for that trash story. Guess what? We won't even remember her after this Dallas Cowboy game, especially if the Cowboys win. Roberta Bacon says they need a mom to smack them around except for Dak. Yes. Yes. And they need a father, too. They need a father figure who will say, you know what? You running home tonight. You ain't riding with me. You going to run beside the car. See, they don't know about that type stuff. They don't know about that type stuff. Great practice today. We're going to run 15 laps. We're going to do 100 up downs. We're going to keep on just building ourselves. People ain't used to that. See, now we're doing everything we can do to coddle players, make them feel good, give them excuses. Dak Prescott said it perfectly. Sounds like excuses to me. Tell them, Dak. Tell your team. Because Mike McCarthy not going to do it. Tell the team. We'll get back into this tomorrow. That's going to do it for me. That'll be my time. If you like this, please like, share, subscribe, hit that notification bell. Let others know about Let's Talk Cowboys, where we talk facts. Peace.